How's it going, everyone? Today's the first day of the 7th month, and some who know will understand that that's kind of a thing, right? But I need to do this video today, and I'm gonna try to get it done properly, and I'm just asking that you give it a chance. Just give me a listen, okay? I've got nothing to gain. That's just where that's at. I got, for anyone that's been following my videos, I got a couple of videos I've been saying I'm trying to get done, and I'm just putting them off for the minute because today's subject, and this one I've been hitting on, is actually what's the most important, because none of the rest matters until we understand the rest. Some of these other subjects will fill in time until everything falls into place, like I mentioned something about the Chevron case, and I got a friend that I'm gonna reach out to after I get some other stuff situated, and maybe sit down with him on video and to get his perspective, because he's quite versed on things with the Second Amendment and such things that pertain to it. So, anyways, videos like that, I'll get to them. But right now, there's some pressing issues. And if you haven't watched my video, if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe, please, right? But and share this information. This information I'm going to be talking about should be shared. It just should. I see a lot of dumb shit get shared all the time, and half the time I watch it just because people are sharing it or whatever. But do the same. This is important stuff that needs to be, and I have nothing to gain, right? I show sometimes in my videos links to how to be supportive of my channel, and that's all it does is support my channel. But otherwise, I'm not trying to sell you nothing. I have no financial gain from anything. You join my email list, that just helps us stay in contact with each other, right? I'm not doing nothing on the other end to try to make any money off anyone. And as of now, I'm not monetized on any of this. So, and what that's relevant for is that you see my heart is pure, okay? Is in it, I have nothing to gain except hopefully this will reach some people and help them understand and maybe get their stuff turned around, right? Our own selves. We all have to. Only thing I'm asking is that you consider the information I'm going to be sharing, and you consider just looking at your own self. You don't have to tell all the rest of us what your sins are or anything else, but consider it's time to repent. If you got stuff to make right, make it right, and do what you got to do to repent and get on God's good side. Because one of the things I'm talking about is like the judgments, and here it is, July, and something's coming sooner than later. I talked about the earthquakes, and I'm gonna give an update here. As I already did, if we look, and I've been keeping an eye on this stuff through this app, the fault zones that I believe were activated through these eclipses are showing more and more recent activity. They're becoming very active, and so it's a matter of time. Can we say that this month for sure it's going to happen? No, but we can say that it's coming sooner than later. And but starting right now, some major things are going to start happening. Some real crazy things, some real major things. And like I say, here's a little screenshots of some updates of the fault zones becoming active in those areas. And now I want to share a few more things coming or falling into place that has to do with that's happened since, during, and since this last eclipse. And we'll get in here, and we'll get down to it. And so I just ask that you consider listening, following along, and forming an opinion afterwards. But otherwise, behold, I reveal to you a mystery. Okay, so I have my work cut out for me in this video to present to you, and let's try to get this cleared up. Now, as I started this, it was the 1st of July, and I ran into complications, so it brings us to today is the 4th of July, and things are ramping up. As I can't stress this enough, give this video a shot, hear what I'm presenting, and then judge from there. It does the things I'm about to share does not have it does not matter if you're religious. It does not matter what you believe, who you are, where you come from. If you are a human being, this pertains to you. And of course, I'm going to be giving this a perspective of what you might call a religious point of view, but just hear me out. And I'm about to share with you some things that are, quite honestly, seem too crazy to be true. But so hear me out, and by the end of this, maybe you might find that this is worthy of sharing, liking, sharing, or subscribing. If you want to share this information, and the truth of the matter is, it's when I'm basing this off my previous video about the eclipses. And we're going to discuss a few more things about that. The past 7 years, the eclipses that have happened have created the Aleph and Tav mark over America, and it is my claim that this is signs of judgment coming for America. And I believe that some of these judgments have already began. And through the form of that, and so if you want to understand more about that, go ahead and watch that video, because I do not want to keep going over the same stuff and make this video too long. I'm going to present a few different things here, and in the end try to tie it together, because as I said, I'm going to reveal a mystery, and it is my intentions to do that. But in order to get there, we have to take some things into perspective. So, and as I say, it is my intention that I believe that it is too late now for prepping. Your only way to prepare now is to accept Jesus, and that is my belief. And as it would be nice to get this shared and a lot of views, the real truth is, if one person would see this and choose salvation for their soul, that would be more important to me than 1,000 views. So, but let's get down to this, and let me bring you, this is not going to be completely about earthquakes, but let me bring you up to date, since I said today is July 4th. And we have these, as of today, the fault zones along the west coast, the Cascadia subduction zone, and down near the San Andreas, those near California and northwest United States are becoming active. And we've already discussed how Mount St. Helens, now they're warning that it's recharging. And so as of today, they are, moving from being active a few times a month to showing activity several times a day. And now they are approaching over the 5.0 on the scale. And, as we start getting 6 and above, are pretty powerful earthquakes. Now, I just hear me out on these things before you come to a full conclusion, because you could hear this out and say that, oh, he's right, this is signs of judgment, or you could say, well, whatever you believe, but it does appear that some things are happening, and you could say whatever it is, what it is, and I say to you exactly, my point is to show you that it is what it is, or as King Solomon would say, it is what it was. So what it's going to boil down to is, does my claims hold water? And my response would be, better than a spinning ball. Now, so we got updates of the earthquake activity in Mount St. Helens. So what's one thing to realize here is these fault lines here on the west coast of America are part of what is known as the Ring of Fire. And coincidentally enough, the 2023 eclipse crossed this zone, and it was a Ring of Fire eclipse. And okay, the Ring of Fire is the Pacific Ring of Fire is a whole area of fault lines and volcanoes, earthquake faults and volcanoes, all that surround the Pacific Ocean. And so it's known as the Ring of Fire. And I found something very interesting when I was following the Ring of Fire lines down, and I followed it down to the heel of the Americas, and down there is the closest connection to Antarctica, the land masses closest area to Antarctica, which is about 600 or so miles from point to point. And I found some interesting things. For one, it appears that all of the world's fault lines eventually connect to major fault lines, and those major fault lines appear to be originating out of Antarctica. And some of the things I'm going to talk about are worthy of videos on their own, so I won't talk much about Antarctica, but there is some crazy things attached to the area of Antarctica. And it's important as we go forward to realize that some of this stuff, it may sound a little crazy, but we need to realize that the people that are in power and are pulling the strings are the very people that are hiding the real truth from us. And sometimes the truth very much is stranger than fiction. And so let's we'll get back to this whole Ring of Fire and earthquakes for the West Coast. And it appears that perhaps even if they could strike heavy before I even finish my video, to be honest, and they're showing that much activity. So it appears that perhaps the West Coast may go off before, which I still believe because we also have some recent activity near the new major fault lines. And so let's bounce around a little bit here, and we'll get back to it, because I found some really crazy things, something really crazy, and we'll get to that. But to me, at first, I thought, oh, this ain't, which involved the earthquakes, and as I was studying the faults, and I kind of brushed it off until I come across this other video, which someone has seemed to come to the same conclusion in a different way. And so I was like, wow, this is kind of crazy. So, but we'll get to that. So let's realize that my claim is that these are judgments coming to America, and it's not just earthquakes, that there's several possible ways, and we know that the weather is starting to really do some crazy things. More powerful tornadoes through the Midwest. These storms are becoming more powerful. So we have these other options we're looking at, other things that could happen, and maybe all of them will happen. But we have earthquakes in the middle of America, across the West Coast, and we have also heavy storms, more powerful storms, and we have the very real threat of war coming to our own soil, and this is a very real threat. And so, we got most of, but what about the East Coast there? Well, then we have the possibility of, a mountainous ball of fire being thrown into the Atlantic, causing a tsunami, taking out the East Coast. Or we have, weather patterns that we could say they're controlling the weather or not, that could potentially take out also, and as well as earthquakes, the East Coast. So my claim is that these are judgments coming onto America for our turning away from God, and that's quite a bold claim, I understand. So, but I believe in the past several years He has shown us who Hollywood is, who our entertainment industry is, and who our politicians are. And the truth is, every one of them have been to that island, and sometimes even worse. But He's shown us their faces of evil, but we continue to support it, and we don't see that, but we're still watching movies from that come up from Hollywood. We're still listening to their music, watching their movies, taking part in their political games. We're still taking part in all of it and supporting all of it. And so we're also looking at the very possibility of the dollar collapse. Okay. But the thing is, if we look at these signs, then we could take it as, the Lord is telling us, I've shown you the face of evil, and you still, so I'm going to take care of it myself. And, so the West Coast takes care of all the filth coming from the West Coast. Then we got, and then Nashville in the center of America, we got the prides of all these areas, right there at the next fault lines, and the possibility of, foreign attacks on our land. And in New York, you just look at all the areas of our pride, and it's going to be taken out. And we can continue on to that, but let's look at a few other things that have happened. You might disagree with some of the things I'm saying, but please follow along for a minute. Let's take a look at, we have all these possibilities, and so let's take a look at a few other things that happened on, I'll touch briefly of a few things that happened on April the 8th, at the time of the day of the eclipse. And we have, we have this weather anomaly that was recorded. Some radar showed up on the radar, where it looks like it's this big, huge heat wave or something that's coming up from the area of Antarctica, coming off and then bouncing off the coast of Africa, and then heading towards us here in America. And that's odd enough. And there's different theories behind that, and the officials claim it was a glitch, but this happened a second time. And so we understand that weather patterns can be affected by especially the hurricanes and stuff, by the temperatures in the water. And there's some theories that was caused by a nuclear detonation in the water, and there's or HAARP was heating up the air, and causing the water to heat up, and heart experiments, stuff like that. This is what, different theories behind that. But this did occur, and it's unexplained, and no one understood it. But now, if we take into account Hurricane Beryl started up, and it's one of its kind, they're saying, like, started up out of nowhere, and then as quickly as it became a Category 5, all of this stuff, and it's because of all this heat. If we pay attention, that since April 8th here in the United States, it's become unseasonably hot too soon, and no one had an explanation of what's going on there. Could this be something to do with that? Okay, and then also on April 8th, we had CERN was doing one of their experiments. And, it's important to understand that they tried everything to get everybody to get to the best viewing areas, and tried to get all this attention on that, as if, they're taking part in a ritual. And because, strangely enough, also NASA launched their during the eclipse, NASA launched 3 rockets, and this was what they claimed to study the atmosphere during the affected sunlight. Oddly enough, they named this experiment APEP. It stood for, the initials turn out to be APEP. And APEP is a ancient serpent god, from is Egyptian belief, was this ancient serpent that was that was the order of chaos, that caused chaos and disorder, Apep, it was an ancient Egyptian serpent-like dragon demon who was the living embodiment of chaos and was the greatest nemesis of the Egyptian gods, and concept of, and there's theories that it wanted, its goal was to eat the sun and remove all light. And that's APEP, and that's what they named, that's what NASA, oddly enough, named their experiment, as they launched these 3 rockets to the sun. It's, and then we take into account NASA's logo, oddly enough, the whole serpent, and so there's different images for APEP and back then, and it's oddly enough that there's other beliefs that use something else other than APEP, but they're all this ancient serpent that is depicted as embodying itself around the earth, and that, so it's like in control of the earth, it's wrapped around the earth, and that's APEP. That's that's what NASA launched on April the 8th. And so let's consider this for a minute. Now you have CERN, these top scientists, NASA, and as far as I'm concerned, and I'm not trying to sway your belief on one way or another, but I'm going to present a few things that are odd here. Let's understand that who the top scientists are, who the people are that are in control of these groups like CERN and NASA and everything else, the people that in the tops of your government, they all belong to secret societies all around you. If they're in forms of government or entertainment, and they are, the higher ups belong to these secret societies who, in their beliefs, hold on to ancient knowledge, and they believe they have the right to this ancient knowledge, and a lot of it's ancient occult knowledge. But to look at their symbolisms, and if we break it down, the crazy thing is that as they rank up into these secret societies and they obtain this ancient knowledge, what they believe is ancient knowledge, they start to use the symbolisms that represent a flat earth, that the earth is on a flat plane. And you can choose to believe that or not. Like, you can choose to believe NASA's been caught so many times in lies, and the truth is, the Spirit of God tells us that if it's a lie, it's a lie. This is how liars work. If they come out with one lie and they get caught on it, they come out with a whole bunch more lies to try to cover that up, and it's a continuous cycle of lies to hold on to their pride. And this is just how liars are to begin with. Well, they are being held at the higher ups of all these organizations. We can look into these things, and as always, and I understand that's a claim you got to watch, because people say look it up, and when they tell you look it up, you don't. A lot of people don't look it up because they just, he wouldn't be lying if he said that. I assure you that I expect anyone to look up the things I talk about and correct me if I'm wrong, and especially if I'm speaking on matters of God, then you should consider if anything I am saying is biblical. But so these ancient beliefs are that the earth is fixed in its place, right, on its foundations. And these are ancient beliefs, and the people who are in charge of all of these things, whether it be Disney, Hollywood, science, all this stuff, they're in charge of our education, and for years they have decided what our education should be, right, what they're going to fill our heads with, and we've been programmed all this time from this stuff. And so if they hold on to some beliefs that they don't want you to know because it might prove that God is real, or it might take out their whole hand of cards, they will manipulate the truth and keep you from the real truth. So, but I'm not trying to convince you that the world is flat or round, or that we've been to the moon or not. But, how can we not have the technology to get there now? It's just they've been caught in lies, so we should assume everything they are saying is lies. Everything, the big talking heads that come out to tell us how things are, always turns out to be lies. But I find that the Bible usually turns out to be the truth and ends up proving itself. So we have these ancient symbolisms that they depict the earth on a flat realm, and to understand, like even the UN flag, is depicting this from old flat earth maps, what it was believed for all through time, how the earth was until now. And just to give you a basic overview of that, if you don't understand that, the belief is that the earth is fixed in its foundation, and that we're not on a spinning ball traveling thousands of miles through space while all the stars have stayed in the same place forever, But the point is that it is a basic belief that Antarctica is actually an ice wall surrounding the earth from the edge of the earth. And so all these old symbolisms and symbols of these old people holding on to this ancient knowledge, it has always been, whether it be the Egyptians, all these different civilizations have had their depiction of the earth as kind of as the flat earth maps show. And at the edge of that ice wall is a great serpent encircling the whole earth, right? and this seems to be their symbol. So they answer to the serpent, right? As is how we take that, the serpent from way from the beginning. If we take this from a biblical point of view, so the serpent is, guarding. There's people that want to take it in a symbolic way. It's guarding the earth. It's deceived man, and now it's guarding the earth, because as we can tell, Jesus told us that this earth is the god of this earth, and the earthly things is the devil. And because he is the god of this world, not the earth, not the earth itself, but the god of this world, the world, our physical world, is the devil. And whether you choose to believe him or not, or choose him or not, and that's the great old serpent that deceived mankind to the fall right in the very beginning, when he conned Eve into taking from the fruit of knowledge. So we have that. And that's it's interesting that this is all through time, and all these secret societies hold these beliefs that, as you get up in the ranks of them, they hold on to these beliefs of their ancient knowledge. And some of that is that the earth is fixed on its foundation, and there's a great big serpent encircling the earth. Now, so let's back up here. So it's just interesting that these are, and that NASA would, on the day of the eclipse, send APEP to their, so who is APEP and who is the great serpent, right? And, if there's, so let's consider this for a moment. We'll find out what the serpent, who is the serpent that they're all depicting. So, it's oddly enough, right? So let's back up here, and, so we consider all these judgments that could be coming. And I'm telling you that these are signs of judgment coming on America. And in fact, if it is indeed judgments coming on America, then that means soon thereafter, the rest of the world as well. And that's quite a claim. And so if I am correct, that means then soon the mark of the beast should be coming to fruition. And we can see how that would be very well to happen. The dollar is already on the verge of collapse, and any one of these events could cause its final collapse. And that's the fact of the matter. And once a dollar collapses, then it is very likely, the most likely thing is going to happen, which China's already trying to do right now, is to create their digital currency. And now their currency will rule over the dollar. So their currency will now rule over the world in the form of a digital currency, and will be under the rules of China. And that's, the money makes the rules and the laws, and that's where that's coming to. And so it's very easy to see that the mark of the beast is right on our doorstep. Okay, but if my claim is true, then that means also we're this far into the end. We're coming this far into the end that we should probably be seeing a beast rising out of the sea. And, that's quite a claim there, a beast rising out of the sea, as in, because if we look through Revelations, I'm not going to give all those Bible verses, but if we look, anyone who wants to go biblically, we look through Revelations, talks about the beast out of the sea, okay, and we have, one person has pointed out, person that's ended up coming to some of the same conclusions as me. I'll give a shout out to his channel, Abraham Overcome Babylon. Go check it out. He's more versed in some of this stuff than I am, but but some of these crazy things that I'm seeing, I'm finding that he keeps coming to the same conclusions. So it makes me feel like I'm on the right track. But so if we go to, so one of the things he's pointing out is that some people are seeing Job chapter 3 as prophecy. Job is, of course, and I totally understand this, he was great man of God, and he and things befell upon him. Go ahead and read, Job if you don't know what I'm talking about. And he, a great man of God, and all these things, evils befell him. So he started, it shows you the dialogue between him and God, and God. That's when God steps into Job and says, well, who are you to question me? Were you there when I laid the foundations of the earth and fixed its, pillars thereof, But anyways, we go to, but some people see it as also prophecies. And so if we go to Job chapter 3, verse 8, some people are pointing this one out, which says, there as some end time prophecy that says, and I'm going to give the New King James Version because I normally don't do this, but the King James Version words it differently, and whereas most of the other translations word it this way, and it says, those who curse it, who curse the day, those who are ready to arouse the Leviathan. So the thing is Leviathan. What is Leviathan? And so just like, in Isaiah chapter 27, he tells us, if we try to get more of an idea of who the beast is in the end, because we have Isaiah chapter 27, in that day, the Lord with his sore and great and strong sword shall punish Leviathan, the piercing serpent, even Leviathan, that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. Okay, that's who Leviathan is. That's who the beast is. The dragon in the sea is Leviathan, right? Here's where it gets crazy. So, as I said, and you take all their logos, and so, so I'm saying that, any minute now we should see Leviathan. Well, who is Leviathan? And then we have Job 41 tells us exactly. God gives us the whole description of Leviathan. Okay, and we'll get back to who Leviathan is. So this is the beast that I'm not saying it's the specific one. There's like several beasts talk about, right? But this is the beast that will be slain in the end. That great serpent from the beginning that has deceived us right from the beginning, and has been there all along, and holding the earth within its encircling the earth and ruling over the earth, misleading us, leading us astray, full of pride. And because if we go to Job chapter 41, it tells us exactly who Leviathan is. This great beast, because God says to Job, can thou draw out Leviathan with a hook, or with his tongue with a cord which thou lettest down? Can thou put a hook into his nose and bore his jaw through with a thorn? So he goes on through Job 41 and tells us who Leviathan is, this great big serpent dragon beast that is body is armor, its belly is like sharp rocks, and no weapons, no man-made weapons can destroy it. God is the only one who can defeat. He's telling Job, he created this great, ginormous beast, Leviathan, and no man can, and all men fear it when they see it, and it is king over all the children of pride. If you go to Job 41, chapter 41, verse 34, is the end of it, right? But if we go down here, he tells us, if we go verse 26, Job 41, verse 26, the sword of him that layeth at him cannot hold, the spear, the dart, nor the habergeon. He esteemeth iron as straw, and brass as rotten wood. The arrow cannot make him flee. Sling stones are turned with him into a stubble. Darts are counted as stubble. He laughs at the shaking of a spear. Sharp stones are under him. He spreadeth sharp pointing things upon his mire. He maketh the deep to boil like a pot. He maketh the sea like a pot of ointment. out of his breath, go on, you can read that, through it, but he's telling us out of his breath, out of his nostrils is hot air that boils the sea, and he breathes fire from his mouth. And it tells us this, and he's indestructible, and his body is like armor, and even the wind can't flow through his fins, and is this great, ginormous beast of no comparison. And that who Leviathan is, the beast who is going to be coming, who should be coming out of, we should be seeing coming out of the sea soon enough, because we are in the end. If we are indeed in the end, and these judgments are indeed on the way, then Leviathan is being aroused. Those who have sold their soul have aroused the Leviathan, and we see this more and more. How this could all fall into place. And the ancient Egyptians, when we go back to Apep, they believed it encircled the earth, and it was of chaos, and when it moved, it caused the ground to shake, right? So now I want to bring you back to our current situation in the Ring of Fire. And I found something very interesting. Is that all of the, not just the Ring of Fire, but all of the world's fault lines eventually come together, and they end up coming together as if they have a central base at near Antarctica. And so when we follow this down, and I followed the Ring of Fire zone down, and I followed it all the way down to the heel of the Americas, or otherwise the Horn of Americas. I call it the heel of Americas. And some interesting things come down here, because down here then is known, because then this is the point from South America's point and to Antarctica is known as Drake's Passage, and that was named after Drake Passage, and that is the body of water, and it between that, it's about 600 miles between Antarctica and Cape Horn, Chile, in South America, right? And that's they're saying like about 600 miles across, and down here. So but it was named after, they claim, after the explorer Sir Francis Drake. Now it's interesting that Drake also, in some languages, Drake, also Draco, also Draco, this different, are all different ways of saying dragon. And it was, there was an old saying that trying to get through there was like passing through the mouth of a dragon. And this is Drake's Passage. And it's always, it's just, oddly enough, Drake is also a name for dragon. And, so here we are on the verge of these earthquakes. And if you can see what I'm seeing here. And then the interesting thing is, another person found this and showed it as an image from, now this image I'm showing you is, all these lines are all fault lines. I did not color these in. It's already done by the, Earthquake Foundation, whatever, right? That colors in these fault lines. They're already colored in. Those are all the colored lines are fault lines. And it's just interesting, that image that comes up right there. But what shocked me more was that somebody else found the same thing, but on Google Earth. And this same image comes there. And is this crazy, or is this our Leviathan? You know, I'll refer you back. You know, the great serpent. Is this the serpent that encircles the earth? Is our earth encircled by this great serpent, which is being aroused currently? You know, this is, let's understand the serpent, after he deceived the woman and deceived mankind. The Lord God said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle and above all every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust thou shalt eat all the days of thy life. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. And right here at the heel of the Americas is, right through Dragon's Pass, is this great big beast, which could be being aroused, causing its boiling hot breath, causing this boiling hot water to shoot up through where it has now been affecting hurricanes. This great big beast, Leviathan. And right here is where the whole control center for the earthquakes, it is breathing, causing heat, possibly is what's going on, is causing the heat and to shoot over this way, and the hot waters are causing stronger storms. And now he's moving a little bit and causing the earthquakes. And we could see how long ago this happened, that he would have been hibernating there, and originally he pushed through and hit the heel of, once upon a time it was supposedly all Pangea or whatever, Pangea. He pushed through and bruised his head and laid there dormant all this time, and now he is being awakened, and the earth is starting to quake. And get ready for some crazy things. Thanks for watching this video. If you find this interesting, consider sharing, and you should consider this information, and that things are indeed going to get very strange, and they're about to sell you an alien invasion, which I have held to all along, that these are going to be beings that are not aliens from another planet, but are indeed demons coming through. And it looks like the end times is truly unfolding right before our eyes. And so I urge you to consider this information, consider sharing it, and maybe you're a sinner, and that we're all sinners. We all have to take a look at ourselves, consider repenting and turning to Jesus. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.